Hey, everybody. This week we are going to be working on declaring a new value, and we're also going to be breaking through from a deep rooted either challenge or issue we had for quite some time. Welcome to Uprise Astrology Podcast. My name is Aylin Sky. Welcome. If you're here for the first time, I'm so excited that you are here. I hope that you're going to like this weekly forecast. I'm an astrologer. I also focus on numerology, tarot readings, and other spiritual topics. So if you like this channel, then I want you to stick around. Let's hang out. You can subscribe to my channel. You can always ring the bell so that you get notified every time I put out a new weekly forecast or any other videos that'll be on the forecast realm. I love to focus on giving you guys some guidance so that you are prepared. The other thing I want to share with you real quick before we dive into this week's weekly forecast is that you can always follow me on Instagram and also on TikTok at Uprise Astrology Podcast. Those are two other platforms where I put out some special content to kind of give you a little bit more of a shorter version of what I'm doing here. So if you're interested in that, definitely make sure that you hop on to Instagram or TikTok, maybe both, and just follow me there on Uprise Astrology Podcast. All right, so we're going to dive into this week's forecast. It is going to be from April 18th until the 24th. And we have a couple of very important things that we are moving into this week, but we're sort of going to start the week out with wrapping up Aries season. So, the beginning of the week, we are going to be taking a look at the sun's transit and what kind of the themes are that are coming up for this week. So, Monday, the 18th, we are going to have the sun in Aries. It is going to be from Monday 18th until Tuesday the 19th. And the sun is going to be transiting through the last degrees of Aries from 28 to 29 degrees. This is when we're going to be really focusing on expanding inner trust. We have been working during Aries season on really focusing on our actions, learning a lot more about where we take action, where we don't take action, or in general, if we have had any kind of reactions, we have been focusing on this aspect as well. And so, all month long, since we started this new moon phase, we have been really working on understanding now what it is that we either don't do or what it is that we're really wanting to do. So, we're taking this really a high level overview that I just gave you, and we're going to be expanding our inner trust. We're wrapping up really just moving forward with what it is that we have found out so far. And in a lot of ways, I covered this in the other videos as well. In a lot of ways, I feel like that this month has definitely felt like it is the beginning of the year. It has felt like that we're finally sort of moving forward in a direction, or there's some kind of action that is unfolding in our life. And so I feel that this is going to be really, really important because this week really starts out with that kind of intention where we're going to be focusing a lot more on what we've learned about ourselves that is really super important to us. So that is the first thing that I'm seeing here. Now, the second thing that is going to be unfolding with the sun is, of course, the sun is moving on. It is moving into Taurus season. So happy birthday to all of my Taurus friends out there. And so during Taurus season, we are going to be working a lot on our value, but how we start this out is going to be on Wednesday. On Wednesday to Sunday, we are going to be moving from 0 to 4 degrees. This is where we're going to be declaring a new value, some kind of new important thing in our life that is going to be of new value or a renewed value and a trust in that to move forward with it. And then towards the end of the week, we are going to be dealing with some kind of a crisis or some kind of a challenge or some particular past sort of memory, so to speak. We're going to be working through it. We're going to be breaking through this aspect. And that is the potential with how the planets are moving. So this is the brief overview as to what is happening during this week. Now, what I want to do is I want to share the chart with you guys. And I've tried to bring this up earlier. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we're going to be able to get the charts up onto this window. Because earlier when I tried to share it, it just wasn't really pulling up, and I don't know why. So I'm going to just go and hop into my comment section here. And if you are on the live, let me know in the chat if you can see the chart, because I can't see it on my screen. So I'm assuming you guys can't see it either. For whatever reason, it's glitching. So I am not able to pull it up on my end. So I just want to make sure, if you are in the chat, let me know. I pulled it up, so you should be able to view the chart right now. Let me know if you're able to see it or not. And while I'm waiting on somebody just telling me, I'm just going to hop onto my phone here and see if we can pull it up on here. I just want to be able to see it. I don't want to waste your time. Just give you a blank screen when there's nothing on there. So otherwise, we're just gonna, I'm just gonna talk you through it. Yeah, you guys can't see it. I just pulled it up. All right, so let me just get out of this and then back to our full screen here. So let's move through the entire week. So the week starts out with the sun transiting through the last degrees in Aries. And what is going to happen on Monday is that the sun will be at 28 degrees in Aries. It is going to come into a square with Pluto at 28 degrees. The 28th degree is a degree that really demands for us to have caution. And of course, we're dealing with two planets and two signs that will really definitely magnify caution. And the reason for that is because whenever the sun and Pluto come together, this is a deeply intense and deeply emotionally reactive kind of energy. There might be some kind of repressed, energies here that might come up to the surface. Okay. With Aries, we're looking at a cardinal fire sign that definitely does not hold back. It is pure thought. It is us just going into action without really analyzing the situation, maybe too much. And so there is this tendency here with the sun in Aries on Monday to come into the Monday energy with this sort of extreme emotional reaction towards wherever this is unfolding for you in your house, right? So you want to check this out where it's unfolding for you in your houses. So the sun in Aries basically is going to say, well, this is something that I really, really want. This is something that I feel really passionate about. I feel that I, haven't been saying something in particular or doing something in particular, and I feel like it belongs to me. And then that sun squares Pluto, and Pluto is saying, well, I've got all this pent up energy around it. I have all these like deep, maybe even obsessive feelings in regards to something. And you may not even actually know that you have these feelings until sort of everything starts to unfold. So with the number 28 in the mix of it all, because they're going to be squaring each other right at 28, this is a number where we have to pause as much as we are able to. And we have to sort of make sure that whatever we're taking action on or whatever we're reacting to, that there is going to be some kind of thinking through, is there a plan? Do you see the end goal? That is the question you want to ask yourself with this energy. Do you see the end goal? Is there sort of a consequence that you might regret later? That might be another thing that might come up here. You want to make sure that you're being cautious with this energy because it can be very frustrating, and it can also prove to be something very contradicting. If you're taking action on something, let's say you have a meeting and you're in the meeting together with somebody, and you have always had these emotions with this person in the meeting with your coworker. And I'm just giving an example, right? And all of a sudden they're saying something that feels just incredibly triggering. and you start to react. You have these repressed sort of emotions that come up with it. Try to put yourself into a position where you are calming yourself down, or at least walking away from the situation and then coming back, and then really thinking through of what it is that you're wanting to hear communicate. Now, the reason I say communicate is because, and I know you guys can't see the chart right now, but I'm just going to talk you through all of that. On Monday, Mercury is actually going to be passing over Uranus, or also known as Uranus, as my teacher would always say when we're studying Greek mythology. So Uranus is going to be in the mix as well. So Mercury is passing over Uranus. And that is an energy where we feel that we're more inclined to communicate and express our emotions. There's sort of an intellectual breakthrough that comes with all of this as well, because with Mercury, we're thinking about how do we balance our mind, how we balance our thoughts, how do we really communicate. And so essentially, we are being asked to be cautious. We're being asked to sort of make sure that we are paying attention to what it is that we're doing. But at the end of the day, what I'm predicting is that you are going to have some kind of a breakthrough. And this breakthrough will have to do a lot about your value system and what you value so much in your life, and what is really, really important to you, because we're looking at, Uranus being in Taurus. We're looking at Mercury also being in Taurus. So this is an energy where I feel that we're really, it's about control. It's about what we don't want to have control us anymore, or what we feel like we need to be in control over, and why that is. It doesn't have to be a bad thing that there is something that you're wanting control over, or that you feel that you want to continue with being able to control this aspect, or feeling empowered in this aspect in your life. That is what we're taking a look at. That is what we're essentially dealing with. So that is sort of how the week starts out. No big deal. That is how the week starts out. And I want to pause here real quick and just say that if you are joining in on this live, just let me know where you're joining in from. You can always drop a comment in the comment section in the chat. I love to hear from you guys. So this is supposed to be more of an interactive format since we're live. So let me know where you're tuning in from and how the energies have been unfolding for you so far. And if you're here for the first time, new on the channel, I want to know that too. Anything you want to share. Okay, so that is the start of the week. And the moon is going to be in the later degrees of Scorpio. So there is also this deep sort of, pent up emotional currency with the moon. Not all the time, right? We don't always have to have that kind of a moon transit with the moon in Scorpio, but Monday is definitely finishing up everything we have been processing over the weekend, ever since the moon has come into Scorpio. So moving on into Tuesday, that is going to be a day where we have to really treat ourselves with a lot of grace. The reason I say that is because every single time a season finishes out, a planet, a degree comes into 29, Aries, or the sun in Aries, will be at 29 degrees. This is when we're going to have a lot more grace. This is when we're going to have to really practice patience. This can be the kind of day where a lot of what we're focusing on is going to be sort of trying to keep our balance, And like I mentioned before, I'm just going to pull this screen up one more time. The sun in Aries, it's finishing up the sort of processing of what we've been learning about ourselves. So especially on Tuesday, we want to make sure that we're really trusting what it is that we are creating and moving forward with. And all the emotions that are coming up, they're not random. These are things that are coming up because every time we go into the later degrees, especially in 29, we are to pay attention to why this is coming up. There is a reason behind it. And then treating that with as much grace as possible, and putting ourselves into a position where we're more in a place being kinder to ourselves, creating a better sort of attitude to ourselves, and understanding that, this polarity that might come up, or the contrast that might come up in your day, And it could be simple things, right? Just getting through your day might be a little bit difficult. Just know that you are going to be in a place where once you are kinder to yourself, the energy will actually move you forward a little quicker. That is really important. That is my experience with 29. I also have some 29s in my chart. So I definitely wanted to share that with you. 29s can always be in this, there's sort of like this friction that gets created, and people can be on edge. And we're still coming off that Sun Pluto square where there might be some, I want to sort of control something. When you get angry at something, maybe you start cleaning, or when you feel like you're not doing enough, when you feel like you're being lazy or something, you start to get into action. Just make sure that you have a plan and you just follow your plan no matter what is coming up. So that's the beginning of the week. As we move into midweek, this is when we're moving into Taurus season. What is Taurus season? There's going to be a shift that is going to be felt more into Thursday, I think. I think Wednesday is going to be more of, okay, there is a cool down now that is happening from the big start of the week. The sun in Taurus, or Taurus season, especially this Taurus season, is going to be 100% about safety. It is going to be about safety. It is going to be about our values, but not just any value. It is that we are going to be working on a very specific value that is very precious to us. It is very important to us. It's something that we're really wanting to work on. It's something that we don't want to let go of. And we are processing through what this is going to look like in our life. And so it could be as simple as, you are moving into a new home, or you're processing the journey into moving somewhere new, or you are having or moving into a new job, and you have let go sort of like this phase of your life where you've always worked these jobs that didn't work out. And so now you're in this new position. And so there is a new value system that comes with it. For some of us, it is going to be the expiration of that value system. And so we start sort of to hold space for this particular aspect in our life. And so I would say that Wednesday is going to be a really, really good day to take it easy and to recover and try for yourself to, sort of get yourself into a space of doing some things that are more on the end of having fun. I think sometimes when we're moving through changes, it can be really intense, or stuff that have aspects with Pluto. It can always be very, very intense, right? And so I think Wednesday is sort of one of those days where if you can just sort of put yourself into a place of having a little bit more fun and taking things a bit more easy, it is going to be a much better day. Just because there is sort of also this processing that is going on, and the energies are going to cool off. So it's a good day for that. Then we're moving on. Of course, the moon at this point is going to be finishing up its transit in Sagittarius midweek. And then by the time Thursday rolls around, the sun is going to be at 1 degree in Taurus. The moon is going to be now in Capricorn, and the moon is actually starting to come close together to Pluto by the end of the week. And this is really important because emotionally, we're going to be in this place where we're really taking a look at all the areas of our life where we sort of hold everything always together. And why is that, and why do we repress our emotions in this kind of a way? And so as the week starts out with this very explosive, deep, sort of obsessive, or even deep enthusiasm for wanting to break through onto the other side, again, depending on where it's in your chart, by the end of the week, we're taking this energy and we're able to take what creates sort of this situation in our life that seems like a crisis, or it seems like drama, or it seems like always this thing that is happening to us that we can't seem to, break away from it. And now that we're in Taurus season, we're getting a different perspective and a different angle on things. And I'm just going to pull up my the Sun in Taurus transit and my summary here. We're moving from 0 to 4. Well, on Thursday, we're going to be at 1 degree. And so this is where we're not only declaring a new value, but we're really taking a look at anything that creates sort of this situation, like I said, that feels like a crisis, or feels like we want to break through it. But now that the moon is moving up in degrees to Capricorn by Friday, it's going to start to come close to Pluto. They're going to come into a conjunction. And then we're going to have this opportunity here to create a new perspective and a new mental breakthrough. Okay. There is a new mental breakthrough that is happening. It feels real. It feels for the first time we're actually able to take a situation in our life and treat the situation with the biggest compassion or with the biggest kindness for the first time. And why is that? Because Pluto is not only just intense and it doesn't make our life miserable, but it promises for us to be humbled by the experience and learn where we needed to treat the situation with more truth, where we needed to get to a point of releasing control, because Pluto has very often to do with control. It's not always the case, but in this particular transit for this week, Pluto is definitely going to ask you to release an old control value, an association to that, a connection to that, a thought pattern in regards to it, so that you can look at your life from a renewed place. Or not, if it's not your life, it is the situation, the relationship, the circumstance, the job, you name it, wherever it is happening for you in your chart, right? This is going to be an opportunity for us to release. And that's really important, because I think that'll be a surprising sort of element to this week. So by the end of the week, there might be sort of a situation that usually causes some chaos or some breakdown or crisis, like I said. And then the opportunity is to, okay, I don't want to participate in that anymore. Well, what do I need to learn in regards to it? You can't just like ignore it. You have to learn something about it. And so if you can approach it in that kind of a way, I think that the planets are going to support a breakthrough in this area. So I'm going to pause right here and just see if anybody has any questions in regards to this upcoming week. You can always put it into the chat. Hi, Ingrid. It's so great to see you here. I hope that you're having a good week. I know I had a very eventful last 2 weeks. This Aries season has been incredibly action oriented for me. I apologize for not being live. I think that some of you may have seen my post, but I had a little incident that happened with my dog. I say little, it wasn't. She was attacked by another dog, and we had to get her to the vet because she wasn't, she had to get stitches. She had to get things, sewn back up, or the wound had to get closed. And so at that point, we had to just deal with all of that. And there was so many other unexpected turns in my schedule that happened that I wasn't able to go live. And I really missed being with you guys here. So I want to know how the full moon in Libra ended up unfolding for you guys, because the buildup it felt kind of, felt like a very long buildup into the full moon in Libra. I don't know about you guys, but I was just ready to move on from it. So I'm glad that we build up to it. So now we're just going to integrate until we get into our solar eclipse that is going to be happening in the next 2 weeks. So that was me on my end. So in a nutshell, I think that this week is going to be a pretty good week to process emotions that may have been sort of pent up, and giving yourself enough time and space to understand what the end goal is for yourself will help you to make the best of the energy this week, because it's not obviously a light energy, it's a heavier energy. And then we drop into the Taurus season, and then we continue to sort of bring our regeneration into the picture. Whatever it is that we needed to sort of let go, we have to regenerate. And in order to do it, we got to release control. So that's the summary of this week. What I'm going to do now is, what I've been doing on my lives is pulling one collective tarot card from this awesome deck. The universe illusion. And so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these, and we're going to see what card comes up for this week and what else sort of comes up through the image. And so let's shuffle some cards and see what we need to know for this upcoming week. And again, I've mentioned this before. This is going to be for from the 18th, Monday, April 18th, until Sunday the 24th. So let's shuffle one more. Oh, there's some cards that came out. Okay, so the very first card here that we're seeing, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, what we're seeing is an image of a family with their kids. And on the side, let me just see, on the side, there is, I'm not sure exactly what this is on the side of this, of this image. I'm not sure what this is, but it's sort of like a palette of colors. I feel the first thing I'm seeing is that there are some old traditions. Okay. There are some old thinking patterns, old traditions, old ways of doing things. And this has very much to do with our upbringing. That's what I'm seeing here. Okay. And it is in correlation to what is proper, things that have to be proper in our life, where we have to be proper, where we have to behave, where we have to sort of, just put on a facade. No more. Okay. That's what I'm seeing with this card. We can't do it anymore. I want to show you the next card. The next card that fell out, we can't do it anymore. We see a couple that is sort of in their home, and we see them sort of like, so there is a female here that's leaning back in a chair, holding on to her belly, sort of like, I'm over it. And another guy or her, partner that's leaning onto the desk, looks like he is holding a drink in his hand. And so the way that I'm reading this is that on the outside, things look like this. We have to hold this tradition, but on the inside, we're really over this whole having to act in particular ways in our life. We're over that. I mean, that's what I'm getting from these cards. I mean, I just feel like, yeah. And so this can also have to do with, by the way, with relationship dynamics too, any kind of relationship dynamics. So it can be from what we're doing with family, especially right now. Family traditions that have been passed on. I can tell you a million different family traditions that have been passed on to me, where I still, to this day, I'm like, oh, I don't really have to think like that anymore. It just takes time. I'm laughing because it takes time to let go of those types of patterns. Some of us, we have to consciously work on, doing things differently in our life over and over again to create a new habit, which is this week. We're declaring moving into a new realm in our life, and I know many people in my life right now that are wanting to move into a new direction where they feel just they're more free, or they're living their life true to what it is that they're wanting to do. And all that stuff takes time because change isn't easy. And now that we're moving into Taurus season, we're going to see the kind of change that we need to create. We need a plan around it, because Taurus doesn't approach things without really a plan. And also, Taurus is a sign that will deal with, well, how valuable is it? How much of it do you want? Because there is a repetitive pattern here that you're going to have to put into place. There's an organizational piece here that has to come into your life, And so we're holding space for that. This is the next card that fell out. So the next image is, a swing, and it looks like a young girl that's in a swing by the river. And there must be some space this week to move through your emotions by yourself, not with anybody else, not asking a million different people for their opinions, but like, how do you feel? Right? I know that this is going to be really important this week. Like, how do you feel? What it is that you are really needing right now? That is going to be an essential this week, and giving yourself some space to create the things that you're wanting to move towards more of, processing them and doing something that you really love doing will go a long way this week. Okay. Now, the next thing that, or the last image is it's interesting because it um looks like a big shelf with various different things on this shelf. I mean, it's a little disorganized, but it almost looks like the shelf is also outside because we see the plants in the background. So our mind is going to go into all sorts of different directions, and so will our emotions in a way this week. There's a tendency to kind of process things, and you might go into these different shelf areas, so to speak, okay, and pull up different, dust off different things that you didn't maybe necessarily think that they were going to be there, or you didn't think that you were going to process through them. And that's okay. Okay. That's okay, because it's coming up for you to, in order for you to put a new value in your life, right? There has to be a contrast. There has to be something. You have to see why that is. Why do you want this particular relationship? Why do you want this particular job? Why do you want to move into, what is it about it that now that you get the opportunity, actually move forward with it and do it? Well, what about it? Is it as fun as you thought it was going to be? What does it look like? What does the reality of it look like? Right? There is like a reality that plays out with it. And so I think before we move into that reality, like the actual, like how it plays out, this shelf right over here is a representation of us just understanding what we don't really want and why we don't want it. And then what does the contrast of it look like? What's the actual feeling behind it? What does it look like? I hope I made sense. But that's what I'm seeing here. Now, you guys tell me what you're seeing here as well. And I do want to say one of the things that is sticking out to me in this picture a lot is in this last one that I showed you. On the shelf, you see like a skull. You actually also see a flag here. I'm not sure which flag this is, but you also, the other thing that sticks out is all of the old picture frames. It almost looks like very old pictures from a different time, a different era. So it almost feels like a lot of this stuff that we're moving through is old energies that may have been keeping us sort of in this place of like a holding pattern. That's what it feels like. Okay. It's been a holding pattern, but these things are like done. It's done. It's just something on the shelf now that we're remembering. And what do we want to remember moving forward? Do we want to clear the shelf, or do we want to hold on to these old memories? I think that is sort of the question we're going to be asking ourselves. Okay. So that was our collective message. That was a lot. Again, whatever you guys see, I want you to tell me in the chat too. So next thing we're going to do is what I do in my weekly lives. If you're here for the first time, again, I hope that you like this content and this style of reading, and I'd love for you to hang out with me here. So subscribe to my channel and make sure you like this video. That helps me out greatly. Then you can always ring the bell if you want to get notified. So the other thing that I do is I pick one zodiac sign for the week that needs to hear the message. And the way that I pick the zodiac sign is that I have this dice in this little wooden jar, and we're just going to shake it up and see what sign we're going to be reading for. And this week we have Scorpio. So let's get into it. And the first thing that I'm picking up from Scorpio, so it's going to be Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. The first thing, that wasn't random either. The first thing that I'm picking up on is you guys really want to communicate something. You want to get your point across to a particular person or to a particular group of people or someone that's really, really important to you. And you're looking for the right opportunity. Or you're contemplating. Okay. So there's a lot here. And the reason you're contemplating, I feel a lot of you are because maybe for the first time you feel, even though this is a relationship that is familiar to you, somebody that you have a relationship to, somebody that, you usually know their reactions, you don't know how they will actually react this time. Sort of, that's what I'm picking up on. So what is it that you need to know right in this very moment? Like, what's the energy good for this coming week? Okay, let's take a look at that. The cards don't want to come out. Okay, so look at this. We have the 10 of Swords and then we have the Page of Swords. Definitely, this is a week of communication. And you are done with this situation where this other person, it almost feels like you're not very impressed with this other person using their disadvantages for their advantages. It's really interesting because there is a part of you that doesn't believe that they're really that in that kind of a bad situation. There's something there that feels very manipulative to you, and you've discovered it in the last couple of weeks. And so a part of you is going to communicate this week. This is the week you're going to, I see for a lot of you, you're going to have this communication. You're going to move forward. You're going to take a risk on this thing. How is it going to unfold? Let's take a look. And if you're a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you let me know. How is this going to unfold for you guys? Yeah, so I think that the reaction you're going to get here is going to put the other person into a place where they're going to be defensive. But perhaps this is really necessary right now, this kind of confrontation or this kind of awareness that you're bringing to the situation, because a part of you also wants clarity. You want to be able to move on. Something about what the other person is not doing has not allowed for you to move on, or has not allowed for you to kind of move into this, like, to free yourself from, whatever this like pattern is. There's like a pattern here that you are like, I'm done with it. I don't want to be a part of this anymore, or this is not necessary. And so either they're a part of the group that you're with, or they're a part of like a working situation, or they're a part of the family, but something about it you feel fed up with, you don't want it. And at the end of the week, you are going to be in a place where you will be able to make a better moving forward decision for everybody. It seems like there's other people that are impacted with this as well. And you guys are going to, although there is going to be a little bit of friction, you're going to be able to move on from this situation. Anything else? I feel like we need to know something else about this. Okay, so you could be dealing with someone who is an earth sign or an air sign. Okay. The situation is going to ground itself out. Let me just see if there's something else that we need to know about this. Like one final message. Yes, there is a final message. So what is really important is that there is a very particular and specific task, responsibility, or a very specific goal that you have in mind with this, that if you are focusing on it, it will shift the energy really quickly into the direction that you want it to go. I think the trap can be here that the longer you discuss the situation with this other person or the group of people that are involved, the longer it kind of drags out. And this might be an epiphany that you're going to have, where in the past you would provide the space for everybody to sort of like talk through this because it was important, but not this time. This time it is about, no, we got to put this aside. This is a waste of our time. Here's why. And we have to move forward. And that's what I'm seeing for this week for a lot of Scorpios, is that is the opportunity, that is the potential. And the less there is an emphasis on this situation that feels so heavy and like it doesn't, and unnecessary, really, that's what it is. I think that by the end of the week, you're going to realize that, okay, let's move on, because the Queen of Swords is a quick energy. It's an energy that's able to make the decisions quickly. So a very important transition out of this situation is happening for the better. And that's what I'm seeing for you guys. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just going to check in with the chat real quick. All right, you guys. So that is all I've got for this week. I hope that this gave you some preparation, that this is helping you to kind of navigate the upcoming week and what is going to be most important. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, you want to let me know about anything, again, you can always drop them in the comment section below. I will be back here next week, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be taking a look at the upcoming eclipse energy that is going to be in Taurus. It is going to be a very big energy that we're going to dive into. And I'm going to dive into some more planetary degrees and some changes that we need to look out for. Thank you so much for being here. Again, you can always subscribe to my channel, ring the bell. That helps me out. Share it with anybody who feel like that they would benefit from this video. And I will see you guys back here next week.